Hello, Monkgtows. I wanted to get back into one of my favorite subjects because it explains how men feel, and it explains the traps that occurs in men's life with these feelings of love and attraction. Uh, the science of love. I like to stick plainly to the science of love. We hear so much metaphysics about love, and I just can't understand sometimes why people fall for metaphysical. They just tend to take metaphysical advice over real life, solid advice about what love is and what human attraction and the human species as an animal does to stay alive and reproduce. It's also complex, and we don't want to think about what it really is. We want to think about these metaphysical angels shooting little arrows at us, little love arrows, and that sort of shit. And that's what we get while we're in school. We get it indentured in our brains from things like Valentine's Day and female teachers and what female teachers think love is, but it's not really at all. It's not really at all. We went over in past videos about the bacterias that cause the feeling of heart palpitations and increased chemicals in our brain. But today, we'll just take a look at some of the chemicals and some of the things that happen in the brain that you may have to deal with in your life if you don't take the red pill. If you do take the red pill, you're still going to have to deal with it. It's still going to happen to you. You're going to look at a female someday, and you're going to say, "Man, I really fancy that female." What's happening at that process is your brain's talking to your brain. I won't go into the lobes. Your frontal cortex is talking with a little section on the side of your brain, and it's drawing a picture. And this happens especially to men. Men have this ability to stop before they talk. That it's a little gate we have to go through as men. We stop before we speak. We look at what that picture, our brain is sending. These neurons are working. They're sending messages back and forth, and they're drawing a picture, and you've already drew this picture in your head what exactly you think of that situation. And that's going to be your first experience with love. It's just your brain telling your brain. It's a very beautiful thing. Your brain telling your brain what you like. And then we fall for that our brain telling our brain what we like. In the human species, we have a real need to reproduce and keep our species alive. That's natural. It's also natural. We get an irresistible cocktail of chemicals in our brains that entice us to fall in what we call love. We believe that we are choosing a partner, but we may merely be just what some people just call a happy victim of nature's plan. So when you think about what that is, you're just you're submitting to this. You're a happy victim right now. Right now, you're a happy victim. But we'll get down to that later in the video. Psychologists have shown us it takes about 90 seconds to 4 minutes to decide if you fancy someone. That's pretty true, I can say. Some men, we look and we do these thought patterns in our head, and we can develop that faster. And as we get older, we look at the anthropological views of love, and that's going to say that body language, waist to hip ratio, and tone of voice, and unfortunately, women, only 7% of it is what you actually say. So let's most of the time we're not listening to what the women are saying. We're listening to the tone of her voice, and then we're looking at her waist to hip ratio, and that's what we do. The first sign is lust, and that's the sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen kicking in, and it's providing lust to us, and the need to reproduce. And then the next step 2, is attraction. This is love struck. Scientists think your neurotransmitters become involved, and that's the point I wanted to push about neurotransmitters. When you get involved with a female, you're going to start pumping out adrenaline, dopamine, and serotonins. At this point, you're not pumping out cortisols, but you're pumping out those threes, and you're getting this feeling, and it's just purely chemical. Your neurotransmitters have been affected by bacterias, and like I said before, testosterone and estrogen is raging right now. Your neurotransmitters only work one way. They have to get through the blood-brain barrier, and these little veins or whatever in your head, and there's no way to get through it. So it sends, what happens is something's got to get into that transmitter, and in most cases it's simply bacteria. So we move along here, and we see adrenaline, and this is the initial stage of falling in love, and this activity, it produces stress. It's a stress. Adrenaline is a stress response on your body. Stress from what? You have to ask these questions, and the adrenaline produces cortisols, and you're having a stressful response. Well, you should, because if you know what's going to happen, you really should have a stressful response. Heartbeat rate goes up, and some people say you get a dry mouth, but I've never experienced that. Dopamines start in the next. Your brain examines and discovers high levels of neurotransmitters and dopamines and chemicals. Stimulates desire. Dopamine stimulates desire, and you want more. You want more of what you had. It's like taking cocaine. It gets addictive. This is where we say the simping process. You become a simp because simps are addicted. They're truly just addicted to the process of what's going on naturally. But as MGTOWs, we can take a closer look at this and learn how to circumvent these things. Because truly it is just a trap. We've got some books. Helen Fisher writes a book, and the surging dopamine. She says the surging dopamine increases energy. You need less sleep or food, and focus attention on delights in the smallest detail. We see this. Next thing that happens is serotonin start. Finally, serotonin is the most important chemical when you're in this trap. It keeps you going. It explains to yourself why you're doing this. It gives you reason to do what you're doing, because what you're doing is a very natural thing. So it's sort of like the painkiller, or the not like cocaine, or it's more like morphine. You're addicted to that too. People love that feeling of, oh, everything's okay, everything's just cool. And we see this so many times with simps and men that are in love. It does change the way you think, and be aware of that. Landmark experiments in Italy and early love tell us this. Dr. Mazzetti, I think his name was, and a psychiatrist in University of Pisa. He tells us there was 20 couples, and he did this experiment, and the brain's mechanisms. Now that's another thing. We're talking about some mechanisms that happen, cause you to constantly think about your lover. We all know that it's sort of like obsessive compulsive. You're just going to constantly think about that, along with all these other steps and these chemicals that are inundating your brain. This is you're hooked, you're trapped, the leech is leached onto you, and now you're trapped. We know that analyzing some samples of blood, we can see that serotonin levels and mu levels are equivalent to the levels of obsessive compulsive patients. Let's move on here, and let's think. I also hear that these men have standards. We all have standards and everything. That's your brain telling you what your brain's telling you is what you like. And I'll tell you, men, for all of us, what we like is not the same. I have a lot of friends, and you can observe around you in your friends and look at some guys like skinny girls, some guys like fat girls, some guys like ugly girls, some guys like hairy girls. It's very, very weird. It doesn't mean that we don't have standards. It just means that we pick and choose what we like, and what we like is very much different from the next guy. I kind of like kind of normal girls, on makeup and unpolished myself. Very plain girls attract me. Nothing special about them. Very normal girls. But that's my brain telling my brain what I like. I don't know why I do that, but that's what I do. Stage 3, attachment. This is where the problem comes in. We're attached for the process of raising children. That's all it is. Attachment, it's a bond that attaches to you, and for the simple process of raising children, scientists think there's, here it goes again, 2 hormones involved in a feeling of attraction. This is oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin is the cuddle hormone that makes you want to always be there and cuddle and embrace your family. In other words, oxytocin is powerful. It's released during orgasm, so it's a very powerful drug, and it is a very powerful way to keep males into this mating thing. So you're around to do your duty of getting your utility extracted now by a female, and the only way to do this, the only way to combat the male need for freedom is with a drug. It's the only way to do it, because the male need for freedom, I've seen this in myself when I was a younger child, 14, 15, 16, 17, my need for freedom to get out of that house was so great that it almost ruined my life. I was called I was put into these situations where I was called antisocial because I needed to get out of this, and I did. I left in the Army at a very young age of 17 because I could no longer stand being just held down. But we know this, the only thing that could hold us back as men is drugs or sex, and it becomes apparent. Oxytocin also seems to help cement, and I want to use that word, cement, a strong bond of mother and baby, and release. It's released during childbirth. It comes out of the mother's breasts, automatically releasing it in milk. You got to ask yourself that now. Now the mother is doing the same thing to the child that she did to you. She's released these chemicals in you, and she's hooked you. Now she's hooking the family. And that's why we do this thing with, I think it's so important that we simply, I don't like to call them parasites, but really what they are is they're leeching on, and they're releasing these parasitic chemicals into the mother, the father, the child, the babies, and all these chemicals of love are securing the family, and that's where we're at right now. And this could go on for forever, but most of the time, like I've explained, it's not going to go on forever. The oxytocins and the serotonins and the cortisols, they all start, we get old and they all start dissipating, and then that's when we start waking up, and then we get this huge industry built on that waking up process called the divorce industry. The government knows all these facts. The government knows all these facts about what happens here, and they're there to become the third party in this. Rest assured, they will become the third party in this after all those feelings go mute in your body. You can do several things. You can have an affair and kickstart that, which will transfer over to your family or your other loved ones, and regain some of that vasopressin, and even some of those other chemicals can start. Or you can watch porn. Many men watch porn, and that kicks in the sexual drive. And this could go on forever. And this could become a very sick relationship too. Most of the time, these things become very sick relationships. We see it at the end. The male simping. The female wants nothing to do. She's already got. Well, as soon as Uncle Sam enters this thing, she's got what all that other bullshit is gone now, because she's got the male provider, and that male provider is now the government. She doesn't need you, but she's going to toss you out with all those chemical effects going on in your brain, and you're not going to understand. So I think it's important that Mgtows talk about this, and I know it's really uncomfortable once in a while to talk about these chemical processes and that go on, and in the trap that was set, and for you even to think that there was a trap set for you, believe me, I'm a very stern male, and I fell for it. If I can fall for it, anybody can fall for it. We see the biggest lumbering giants among us fall for this same thing and act like simps. So be aware of these female vampires, or whatever you want to call them, parasites. They know exactly what they're doing. It's indentured into their souls from 1 billion years of evolution here, and apply it to your logic, and try to reduce some of the. You can reduce the original bacterias that kick this whole process off by simply taking a few common prescriptions, or like I like to say, wormwood or walnut oil, and remove yourself from any situation that would kick that process in. And I see it in myself once in a while. Like I say, even as a hardcore Mgtow as I am, once in a while a woman will walk by and I'll catch the scent. And ooh, I know it's a rough one, but there's really nothing I want in that, because I've seen how the whole process works. There's really nothing I want from them anymore, because I see what the process is. It's an initial trap. And that's pretty much all I've got to say. If you want to go down that road, you can experience it. It's a very exhilarating experience, but it's a bridge to nowhere. It leaves you out nowhere. It leaves you out broke, busted, divorce court. We know 80%, I think 80% of relationships are going to end up in divorce. If you think you're going to make that 20% mark, Yeah, if there's something really special you got going, usually that would be a business relationship, some kind of thing that carry you past uh, the feeling of love. Once you get to that brick wall, you're going to need something to work on. You're going to need a project, a hobby, a business to work on with that female. But that's where the problems come in too, because females don't have foresight. Females have now sight. What's good for me now? And that's all they really can see. They can't put the future in their vision, because it's just not something they can do. Their brains don't work that way. So get prepared. If you're going to go down that road, you're going to have to explain details about the future, and still they're not going to understand. They will burn through your insurance policies, and they will burn through your savings like it's all free and doesn't mean anything, with no comprehension of the future. And maybe that's what my next video will be about, why females think that way, why females will burn the future for a moment in the present. But that's all I had to talk about today, and you guys take care. This is just a Monday morning video. Monday morning videos aren't real popular, so I figured I'd rehash an old subject. Thanks a lot. So, man, we have to ask ourselves the question at this point: what happens from here? Family's there. The woman's acting very natural. She's looking for resources. She's deciding which resources are best for the family. And then Uncle Sam and the divorce court come in. Well, what happens is they mimic the behavior of the male, and it's aggressive mimicry. They essentially hijack the natural responses of the female to provide the provider status she's looking for. And that's what Uncle Sam and the divorce courts do. They mimic. They're like the red wasps. They're aggressive mimickers. This is more like an anthropological overview of beekeeping. And in beekeeping, you have red wasps and wasps that come in, and they're searching for the same resources that the bees are searching for, and they need to feed their families too. So this is when the rut and bool comes in of human behavior, the willingness to subject other humans to horrors and lesser lifestyles to provide for your family. And because it's seen by females as a set amount of resources, and that's all evolutionary. There's a set amount of resources that the females start competing for. And Uncle Sam essentially hijacks this natural system at this point. He's the red wasp. Very, very, very dedicated in his destruction of the hive. And the hive in this case is the family. And he wants his children to be, or she wants her children to be taken care of in a manner such as the queen or the exalted drones want, at the expense of the worker bees. And that's what I've called mudsill in the past. You can look up this process of it's a group process, and it becomes a group process of mimicry and aggressive mimicry. And you can go back and look. I explained it in one of my past videos, and that's why I do these videos, because there's small chunks of this process you need to know. And Uncle Sam comes in and he does what he does. The divorce courts come in and they do what they do, and all of a sudden they have a slave. They have a worker drone. You will be the worker drone. And most males accept this for their place in the hive. But lately we've seen, we've seen the bee world. We see bees leaving the hive. The hive doesn't work for them anymore. We have beehive collapse, and that's what we're starting to see in our society. We're starting to see red pill beehive collapse. Men aren't falling for it no more. Worker drones aren't doing their work. Thus, the system gets the system no longer works for the worker drones, and that's pretty much where it's going to let you off at. And this bridge to nowhere process is going to let you off flying around out there with wondering what the hell am I doing, because you can't feed honey into the system anymore because the system's not there for you. The system doesn't work for you. So you have to decide to go back to the starting point of this process and reconfigure in your brain what your brain likes. And that's where we're at as MGTOWs. We're reconfiguring in our brain what we like. And I've often told you I like my coffee a certain way. That's why I bring up that point, because it all goes in a very natural process. What we like, how we got hijacked, where it's going to end up, where you're going to be at the end of this, and you're going to be at the same place I'm at the end of this, deciding what I am in this world after being hijacked for 10, 15, 20 years. So that was my video today, and I hope you enjoyed it. You'll probably get a lot of arguments about it, but to me it makes sense, and I don't think I'm a stupid person. So thanks a lot, MGTOWs, and you have a good day, and try to enjoy what you like and try to find out what you are, and that will derail this process. Do a self-searching evaluation of yourself and use your MGTOW tools, because there are a lot of MGTOW tools out there that MGTOWs give you freely and ask for nothing from you for it. Just lend an ear and give a kind word. That's all we ask, and I want to thank you for that, MGTOW. Thank you.